Welcome, beloveds. We are continuing with our book reading session, Big Feelings. Tell me, who says this? Do something about this. Who says that? Anger. So, today's chapter is going to be on anger, and a gentle reminder that in the book review sessions, I am going to share with you my key learnings which I have gained from the chapter, and I will be doing less of psychological intervention into all this because that's a different theory altogether, and I can have separate sessions for that. But this is my book review sessions and a book reading session with you where I'll just share briefly about the books and the theories and the ideas that I am learning and gaining from the book, and I want you all to have the equal benefits about it. Okay, so this chapter is on anger, and here is a quote. Anger is an assertion of rights and worth. In anger, whether you like it or not, there is truth. So, do something about this is said very loudly with a lot of passion and energy by the emotion, by the big feeling called anger. So, first, the author says something like really good about the side of anger, that anger can serve you if you channel it productively. Anger is pain's bodyguard. This is said by grief and loss expert David Kessler. Getting mad can spark creativity, motivate you to advocate for yourself, and help you perform better in competitive circumstances. Okay, so anger is good, yeah, it is really good because it's telling you do something about it. But then our goal is to identify what pushes our buttons, what gets us mad, and how destructively are we using this energy for ourselves and for our significant others. So, how you can better identify the anger triggers, and most importantly, there are some unmet needs and lot of baggage around this, lot of suppression around this, which is showing up in anger on the surface. So we have to check with the roots as well. So first author takes us to the myths about the anger. So first myth is that you should suppress your anger. Bottle up all the emotions, don't show it, don't talk about it. That's not gonna help. She explains that our subconscious mind has taken in enormous amount of data and has determined that you are in a situation that is threatening and is preparing you to respond physically. This is by a neuroscientist, R. Douglas Fields. So the point is, this doesn't give you a license or permission to just because you cannot suppress your anger, so you better just throw it out. No, that's not the thing. But when there is no point in suppressing your anger, because the thing about which you are angry at, that in itself means that your subconscious mind or your system has gathered around enough information, because see, anger is very strong, whether it is silent or loud, whether there is a volcano blasting on the inside or on the outside, there is lots of energy. So which means that your system, that your mind has enormous, incredible amount of data and information about the person or the stimulus that is driving you crazy, that is making you something mad about. So this is the first sign that you accept that you are feeling angry. Okay, that is number one thing. And your body, your system is preparing you, because our brains are built up in a way that it is their responsibility, like a parent, and this parent is very reliable because your brain makes sure that you are safe no matter what. So it will just activate your system. Those it will start ringing those alarms in the system: fight mode, flight mode, or freeze mode, like fight and flight mainly. And it prepares you that do something about it. It prepares you to respond effectively, and therefore you feel anger in your large muscles, so that you pick up things and you throw things or you get into a fight mode. It's very, very strong. Second myth she talks about is that we are not reliable judges of who is angry at us. Well, here stereotypical understanding is definitely involved, that there are some culture wise we have our own judgments and stereotypical beliefs about who could be more angry, like as in man and women gender wise, and how it is expressed. Here is something on resentment which is important. Our attempts to suppress our anger usually don't work. Worse, when we pretend we can brush it aside, anger tends to fester into an even bigger and more difficult emotion, and that is resentment. Resentment is anger looking for a payback, like it's a very high emotion, and each new resentment is added to the ones before. So this is like that needs your clinical attention as if. Next myth is that venting makes you feel better. This is awesome. People believe that just by मतलब सारा गुस्सा अपना बाहर निकाल दोगे, like once you vent out all of your emotions you feel better. A big cross. You don't feel better, you feel worse. Now you must have heard about something called distraction therapy that causes your anger to escalate rather than diminish, but it works other way around. So like if you are in an environment where you are allowed to express all of your anger, and once you have expressed all of your anger by destroying the things that are there in that garage, in the therapy room, you will feel better. You might eventually feel worse, and it might add on to your stress, as into your fight or flight mechanisms as well, because the brain has still not got the signal that we are safe. Why the brain has not got that signal, and why you might have later on maybe more highly elevated levels of stress, because you are not doing something or you are not doing anything about your anger. Therefore venting out doesn't help. What happens is that when you get into a pattern of venting or chronic venting without doing anything about your own emotion, about your own experience, about your anger, then you are creating more problem for yourself, because then there is no way out. People are listening, fine, they might add on to your blaming tendencies more. This is all like reinforcing your anger in very inappropriate way, because the more you vent out, meaning the more rubbish, let's say, you talk about someone, you are strengthening your neural pathways as well, that I am right, the other person is wrong. You are justifying your anger, you are reinforcing your anger, and the neural pathways are getting stronger and stronger. At the same time, your level of stress, your level of anxiety is equally getting stronger. And the people who hear around you and they are not helping you to come out of it, they are also reinforcing very inappropriate response of yours, that is called blaming also. So there are multiple angles to it, but either way it's not supporting the venting theory. Venting theory is good to some point, whether you do it self or to a therapist or to your beloved ones. But if along with venting you are not doing anything about your anger, then it's a problem. And another myth is anger is usually triggered by a specific event. For sure, yes, that's the trigger. Even we as a psychologist ask you to identify and take a note of. But the beautiful thing she shares here is this, which I really like. And you see there is this this painting. There are a lot of good drawings as well. Not a painting, a simple drawing. So she says that yes, a specific event can make you go ballistic, but the sparks that make us explode usually have kindling. So maybe maybe the partner is not upset about that there is too much salt in the food or no salt at all, or the partner is not worried about or angry about what to cook, or it's not about the dress, it's not about the things getting misplaced, it's not about the disorganized or how messy the room is. All it's not about the little trivial silly arguments, but you see people get explode over silly things, right? Like really there is nothing to it, they themselves also know, but the thing is that something is cooking inside, and that has been cooking inside for weeks, for months, perhaps for years, which has got no attention, which has not been attended at all, even by the self, like as an individual, or has not been communicated to the concerned ones. And if at all it is communicated, that it is on the venting and on the blaming side, which is again not serving, because the anger is not paid attention, only the stories are being paid attention to, the narratives, the internal stories, the interpretations and the predictions. But anger in itself as an emotion, as an energy, and what to do about that feeling and emotion, that is not attended well. So venting is not helping. And here what happens is the kindling part. There is lot of stories, lot of things cooking inside which were not paid attention to. So there is lot of things behind that explosion to or over silly things. Chronic stress literally rewires the rage circuits in your brain, writes this psychologist in the work, this neuroscientist R. Douglas in his book Why We Snap. Do check it out. So chronic stress literally rewires the rage circuits in your brain. If you are stuck in an unhealthy environment or under a lot of pressure, you develop an extremely short fuse. Some people, just little spark is enough. It's not even a provocation, but you see highly explosive reaction. The sustained level of stress and fear you experience every day because of your emotion as well depletes your emotional resources, making you much more likely to get mad even at minor provocations. Okay, so yes, one event can make you justifiably upset, but when examining your anger, try to more fully understand what might already have been cooking inside. That's the identification part. Now here is my key learnings from this chapter on anger. The first thing I understood is that, like any other emotion, just a minute, yeah, like any other emotion, anger is also giving lot of energy, lot of information about something that needs my immediate attention. Like I just said, that the way our brains are built up, their function is to keep us safe. So the brain is always on the surviving mode and it's keeping me safe, right? So it activates the fight and flight mechanism. There is this adrenaline rush, there is a lot of rush inside, hormonal activities going on. But what the thing is, and those signals are important for me to understand that something needs my attention, that I need to do something. But the understanding is that we need to have more accurate understanding about those signals and to equip ourselves with the tools and techniques and methods and resources so that we respond in a much more better way, more effective way, and in much more controllable ways, because otherwise we always regret with what we just did. And in fact that's where the concept of emotional intelligence comes up. Do check the work of Daniel Goleman, Emotional Intelligence, if you are not aware. You may start watching videos first and then get the book for sure. So that's where emotional intelligence come up, and that's why we regret for getting angry over something about which we might have prevented actually. Okay. Second key learning was that of course anger is like a habit, what a very harmful one, and psychologically speaking it's very addictive in nature. It's like a dopamine rush. So dopamine is a hormone. It's a mood hormone that it's a rewarding hormone. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter. I correct myself. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter which is on motivation and which is on the rewarding side. So what happens is that every time you lash out on someone, every time you display your anger in harmful ways, every time you get into venting out, blaming the other person, every time you tell the similar story, and thereby you unrealistically in your fantasy think that you are at the control, but you are not. You are getting in fact more destructive into your pattern. This neurotransmitter dopamine is taking over in terms of reward, in terms of motivation, and it is creating more addiction towards anger, because immediately by doing that you feel good, by putting other person down you feel good, by blaming and venting you feel good, by lashing out silently, loudly, in whichever destructive ways you feel good in that moment, because you think that, oh, the energy is out. But until and unless you are not doing anything about your anger, you are stuck. You are stuck in that addictiveness also, and over time it is becoming a habit, but a very harmful and destructive habit. So that is the second thing. The third learning point here is of be aware of your hidden stories. So I focus a lot on the internal stories that we cook inside, that we come up with using our own treatment or range of spices and the ingredients that we add to the story. Okay. And the fourth key learning for me was adult monitoring. Very, very important. So, okay, I'll just brief you again. The first thing, like the anger in itself is a very strong emotion and giving me lots of energy and information, yes. But my key learning from this chapter is that how can I have more accurate understanding by equipping myself with tools and techniques in a way that helps me to respond in more better ways and more controllable ways. Second thing is to identify its addictive nature, because it is addictive. With the neurotransmitter dopamine, one thing we can have is anticipate prediction errors. So even though anger is very rewarding, like by lashing out you feel power, you feel dominance, you feel a success kind of a thing, which is not, but you feel, but you see later on we regret, right? So how about taking a step back and predicting right beforehand that I am going to regret about my reactions, it will further damage my relationship, and personally I am not going to like it. I will have more overthinking, I will have sleepless nights, and it's going to be more destructive whether I am aware or not. So you can make this prediction error. Third key learning for me is always to be aware of the internal stories, and fourth key learning is the adult monitoring. We will see now how I will relate it with the theories and the practical things as discussed here. There is this beautiful quote: anger is like water, no matter how hard a person tries to dam, divert or deny, it will find a way. When we internalize or suppress our anger for too long, it threats itself through our appearances, bodies, eating habits, relationships, fueling low self-esteem, anxiety, depression, self-harm, and actual physical illness. Now anger is a good source of motivation as well, because anger sparks motivation, anger sparks creativity, it pushes you to do something. And you know the times we are living in, and at present a very heinous crime that has happened, and a lot of compassion to the people who are supporting this, lot of compassion to the family, like heart goes out to them who are supporting justice right now, who are demanding justice, and who wants that happened for all of us who are fighting a very strong battle right now. That anger is needed, that anger is a motivation, that anger is appropriate. So you have to identify those things where it is serving you, and this is for all girls and women out there. Speak up. you know, you must also be feeling angry about a lot of things that are personally not acceptable to you, whether it is in terms of physical touch, mental touch, emotional touch, spiritual touch, whether it has to do with your energy touch. You know, you must also not be feeling or unacceptable about a lot of things, yes, but don't get fearful, don't be afraid, and don't suppress it. Those are the times when you have to use your anger out loud to express what you are feeling, to express your needs and to express what you are feeling, and to give and convey a clear message on what is acceptable and what is not acceptable. Now let us understand how we can work through the anger, and there are some good points shared here. Of course, identifying your anger is the first and most important step. So you have to identify your anger and anticipate beforehand by identifying your triggers. See, I'll tell you something. When anger happens, your limbic system, the survival brain, is more active. So the amygdala, that emotional brain area, is taking control over. So you are under the amygdala hijack, okay, and you have to free yourself from that hijack. So you, by identifying your triggers, you are clear with who and what is pushing or pressing your buttons. That's very important. And the author talks here about understand your anger expression tendency, and this is what I have really liked here. She says that there are 4 ways in which we express our anger. So the 4 tendencies are: first is of a suppressor. You think that was it my fault, so you suppress it, you take it about yourself. Second is anger projector, you know, project blaming out. Third is anger controller, not accepting, not realizing, only like, oh, I'm fine, maybe numbing, so emotional numbing. And fourth of which is our focus, anger transformer. So transformer is, my anger is telling me what I need and what I need to do. So she walks through this 4 anger expression tendencies, very insightful actually. Now next thing is acknowledge that a violation took place. So give yourself permission that you can be angry. The previous part which I discussed on. When a violation occurs, you are allowed to be unapologetically angry. See, anger doesn't mean that you have to express it all the time. But many times people feel also sad, bad, or guilty, if you are like me, okay? Sad, bad, and guilty that why did I got angry? I should not have been angry. And also numbing out, like maybe I'm not sad, maybe I'm not angry. Either way, it's not gonna help. It's on the extreme side. So give yourself permission to be angry, but to be unapologetically angry. And the point I'm trying to make is, accept your feelings. Give yourself permission to feel those feelings. I'm not focusing on the expression side just. First, allow yourself to feel the feelings that you are feeling, because it's coming from your system. Don't run away from it, don't push it aside, don't escape it. That's why I am discussing this work, big feelings, okay? So give yourself permission and feel the feelings and be with it. Like, okay, right now I am feeling angry, right now I am feeling hurt, right now I am feeling sad, and be with it in your inhales and in your exhales, and by affirming these statements, right now I feel. So first step should be this is called mindfulness. You be mindful of the emotion that you are feeling. Right now I feel anger, right now I feel sad, right now I feel compassion, right now I feel stress. You focus on the feeling, because anger needs to be addressed. Anger needs to be met at its own level, addressed at its own level, and you work it out, because each one of us are different, and accordingly we have to understand and work it out. Okay. And it makes all the sense that when you communicate your anger, once your your range of emotion, the intensity of emotion has lowered a bit, then you are in a more stronger position to communicate your anger by communicating your needs and wants and feelings. Otherwise, the victim part is speaking up, the hurt part is speaking up, and we are expecting that the other person, we assume that the other person should understand why am I feeling this way or what am I feeling and how and this and that, but no, other person can't get that it. So expecting is like further kindling or adding fuel to the fire, not gonna help. Okay, so first you be mindful of your own feelings. Step number 1, right now I am feeling angry, and you breathe in and you breathe out and you focus on that, and this needs practice as well, so both the ways needs to be done. And second, you communicate your anger. You don't have to express your anger, you have to communicate your anger. Keep expression to yourself by being mindful of it, and communicate your needs, your thoughts, your feelings, your wants, and use more of I statements than you statement. For example, you made me feel like that, when you did this, when you did that. You say, I felt really angry and hurt and upset and disgusting when you treated me like that, when you said like that, and that may and I'm feeling it this way. So you are taking care of I, and you are focusing on the action and the behavior that was demonstrated by another person that has hurt you. But you be mindful of your own emotions and then communicate your anger, expressing your needs and wants very, very clearly. Then you are speaking from a place of worthiness and not someone who is like a victim. Okay, fine. So yeah, that's the point. Talk about your emotions without getting overly emotional. Now this is what I liked in the book, this paragraph, which I really liked, because the similar situation, sometimes you will have to face the ugly truth that you are angry because of something you can't change, and I realized that. Okay, rings so true. Sometimes you will have to face the ugly truth that you are angry because of something you can't change, or because of something you might be able to change but can't take on in the moment. I'm in both the situations. Other times, the person who hurt you won't admit to having caused you pain. Actually, can relate with all three. So, yeah, these are the 4 questions you can use before you communicate your anger, along with what I said. So, like, what is my goal? What can I say to achieve that goal? How should I say it, and when should I say it? Or I would say the point I suggested before, you have to use it. I mean, because this, I'm saying you have to, but I mean to say that this is the way that you come in touch with yourself and with your emotions, because you and your emotions, beloveds, are important. And by giving importance to yourself and to your emotions in a correct way is the way to meet it and to address it at its level. So say, right now I am feeling, be mindful of it, and once you settle down, you communicate your anger by communicating your thoughts, your needs, your wants and your feelings, and using more of I statements than you statements. ये ऐसे पिन पॉइंट करना ना ईगो होता है और किसी को अच्छा नहीं लगता है, मतलब वो उंगली उठाना इन to say it, to put it correctly. Okay, so basically anger is an emotion that if it is harnessed and curdled and taken care correctly, appropriately and effectively, then it becomes your strength, because we need this emotion, anger, we need this strength to make things right. So here is the anger telling you, do something about it, and I say, do something about it, yes, but do it correctly, in a way that serves you as well as others. Thank you so much.